Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're navigating a topic that's, well, truly reshaping our world, autonomous vehicles. But our focus isn't just on the cars themselves. We're going to trace their fascinating evolution, peer into the cutting-edge AI that drives them, and explore the vast oceans of data that make it all possible.
It really is a field bustling with innovation, yet, as you say, equally complex challenges.
Right.
Our goal today, I think, is to distill the core insights from the sources you've shared, highlighting maybe the unexpected details and the big questions this technology poses for all of us.
Yeah.
Consider this your essential guide, sort of, to understanding the future of transportation and the digital architecture that powers it.
We've got an incredible stack of articles, research, notes here to guide us. So if you've ever wondered how these self-driving cars actually think,
Yeah.
or what the real-world implications are beyond the headlines, you're in precisely the right place. Let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So you might imagine self-driving cars are a 21st century invention, right? But the timeline, it reveals a much earlier beginning. What did this initial vision look like?
It's quite striking, actually, how forward-thinking some of these early concepts were. We're talking about General Motors Firebird IN2 prototypes.
From the 1950s.
From the 1950s, yeah. Conceptually, these vehicles were envisioning what we'd now classify as level 2 or maybe level 3 automation.
Wow.
Nearly 75 years ago. Now, mass production was obviously a distant dream then, but the seed of autonomous mobility, it was clearly planted.
Okay, so we jump from these concepts in the 50s. What happened in the, say, 80s and 90s to push this vision forward?
Well, that's when the serious research and development really began. Car manufacturers, research institutions, they shifted their focus, particularly on automating highway driving.
Right.
The initial work was all about refining vehicle dynamics and control, for more stable automated travel.
And then the story really accelerates. What was the catalyst for what's been called the explosive growth period?
That moment really came with the U.S. military's self-driving car competitions.
Oh, the DARPA challenges.
Exactly. In 2004 and 2005, they were a monumental spur to development. Stanford University's winning vehicle from that era famously became the precursor to what we now know as the Google car.
And that Google car, which eventually evolved into Waymo, it made some truly groundbreaking headlines, didn't it? How did it capture the public imagination?
Oh, it absolutely did. By driving 30 kilometers completely accident-free, that showed what was possible.
Yeah.
Then, in 2014, Google unveiled prototypes without a steering wheel or pedals.
No steering wheel.
Yeah, openly aiming for 100% autonomy. It certainly felt like the future had, arrived on our doorsteps.
Yet the path wasn't entirely smooth. This journey hit what's been termed a decline period. What caused that significant setback?
Yeah, the turning point was, unfortunately, the March 2018 incident in Arizona.
The Uber incident.
The Uber test vehicle, yes, tragically struck and killed a pedestrian. This forced a global pause, really, prompting critical reflection on safety protocols, regulatory frameworks, liability, insurance.
All the hard stuff.
All the really hard stuff. It made us all confront that vital challenge. How do we effectively balance technological innovation with public trust and safety?
But the journey didn't end there, of course. We're now seeing what's called a recovery period. What characterizes this new phase?
Well, companies have become more strategic, I'd say. Instead of chasing full universal autonomy immediately, they're focusing on specific, practical applications.
Makes sense.
Yeah, this approach allows them to build real-world experience, cultivate client bases, and, crucially, establish viable business models. It's about more grounded progress, maybe.
Okay, to really understand how autonomous vehicles operate safely in these incredibly complex environments, it helps to think of their core software modules. Can you walk us through how they essentially perceive, think, and act?
Absolutely. We can break it down into, let's say, 4 main brains or modules. First, there's vehicle positioning,
Right.
which is the fundamental need for the car to know exactly where it is in the world.
So it's not just relying on a basic GPS then.
Yeah.
How does it achieve that kind of precise awareness?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It integrates high-precision maps, which are accurate down to the centimeter for things like road markings and signs.
Centimeter level. Wow.
Yeah. And this is combined with technologies like RTK GPS, which enhances standard GPS accuracy dramatically, and an IMU, an inertial measurement unit.
Okay.
That provides continuous, precise updates on the car's orientation and motion, even if satellite signals are momentarily lost.
Oh. Oh,
And there's also SLAM, simultaneous localization and mapping,
SLAM, right.
which allows the car to build a map of an unknown environment while simultaneously figuring out its own position within it. So it's the car continually asking, where am I and precisely which way am I headed?
Okay, so once it knows where it is, it needs to understand its surroundings. That brings us to object detection, recognition, and tracking, how the car actually sees the world.
Exactly. This module is tasked with identifying and tracking everything around the vehicle, other cars, pedestrians, unexpected obstacles,
Everything.
pretty much everything. It uses a fusion of sensors. Cameras are exceptional at identifying what an object is.
Like, that's a person, that's a bike.
Precisely. While LiDAR is superb at pinpointing an object's exact location and distance,
Right.
we see examples like the WinBus autonomous shuttles, which employ both 2D and 3D LiDAR with multi-sensor fusion for incredibly comprehensive environmental perception. This is the car asking, what's all around me right now?
But simply knowing what's there isn't enough, is it?
Hmm.
A truly intelligent vehicle needs to predict what those objects will do next. How does it handle moving object prediction?
Right. This is where it gets highly sophisticated. It uses advanced deep learning models, particularly recurrent neural networks, RNNs,
RNNs, okay.
and long short-term memory, LSTMs. These specific types are crucial because they excel at recognizing patterns in time series data, which is exactly what motion is.
Makes sense.
Without this predictive capability, the car just couldn't make safe, proactive decisions. It would always be reactive.
And all that complex perception and prediction must then funnel into the final module, vehicle decision and control. This is the brain that decides what to do next.
Precisely. This module dictates the car's actions. There are generally two primary approaches here. One is rule-based decision-making.
Like, if red light, then stop.
Exactly. Where the car adheres to predefined rules, like stop at a red light, simple enough. The other, more advanced approach involves AI decision models,
Okay.
which use artificial intelligence to learn driving strategies directly from vast amounts of sensor data. This allows for more nuanced, sort of human-like, complex decisions in dynamic situations.
So it learns from experience.
In a way, yes. This module ultimately answers that critical question. Given everything I know, what should I do next?
Okay. Beyond these core modules, there are other crucial supporting technologies in autonomous driving, many of which you might already be familiar with, like ADAS and DMS. What role do these play?
Right. ADAS, or Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, really forms the foundational layer for full autonomous driving.
The building blocks.
Exactly. It's a suite of systems designed to significantly reduce human error and enhance safety. These systems integrate various sensors, controllers, actuators. They collect and analyze data, then either warn the driver or, in some cases, actively intervene.
So we're talking about everything from, say, passive systems that just alert you, like blind spot warning, to more active ones that can actually take control, like adaptive cruise control.
That's a good distinction, yeah. Passive warnings versus active interventions. And then as we climb the autonomy levels, particularly at level 3 and higher, DMS, or driver monitoring systems, become increasingly vital.
Right, DMS. It's interesting how, even when the system can take over, the driver still needs to be ready to intervene. How does DMS ensure that readiness?
Well, DMS uses internal cameras and AI tracking to constantly monitor the driver's state.
Watching the driver.
Essentially, yes. Checking for distraction, fatigue, or even things like smoking or phone use. The fact that the EU is mandating driver fatigue monitoring systems in new cars from 2024 really underscores just how important this technology is becoming for that shared human-AI responsibility.
That's a big step. Okay, now that we've explored how these cars think and what technologies underpin them, let's look at the broader landscape, globally and specifically in Taiwan. We're all familiar with the different levels of autonomous driving, level 0, fully human, up to level 5, complete automation. What's truly interesting is where the market activity and the regulatory challenges currently lie across these levels.
Indeed. Currently, level 2 partial automation vehicles where the system handles some tasks, but the driver must constantly monitor.
Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, basically.
Pretty much. Those are projected to comprise about 12.4% of total vehicles by 2025. The global self-driving car market itself is predicted to hit, well, an impressive $42 billion by 2025. And potentially double again by 2050. So, huge growth potential.
And what's the situation specifically in Taiwan regarding these autonomy levels?
In Taiwan, generally, only Level 1 ADAS functions are permitted for public use on regular roads.
So mostly the assistance features.
Exactly. For testing higher levels, vehicles require special licensing and rigorous inspections from the Ministry of Transportation. However, Taiwan possesses a significant advantage: a really robust vehicle electronics industry, deeply embedded in the global supply chain, particularly in ICT.
Right, the tech powerhouse aspect.
Precisely. Both government and private sectors are actively investing in R&D in this area.
We've also noted a clear development strategy for Taiwan.
Mm.
Short-term focus on closed environments, like test tracks. Mid-term on dedicated environments, maybe specific routes.
Like bus lanes, perhaps.
And long-term aiming for open roads. What are the key technologies Taiwan is prioritizing to achieve this?
The focus is heavily on advancements in sensor development, perception fusion, making sense of all that sensor data together, designing powerful system-on-chip solutions, creating high-precision mapping capabilities, establishing reliable 5G transmission, which is critical for real-time data,
Absolutely.
and pushing the boundaries of AI deep learning.
And we're seeing concrete steps in this direction already, aren't we? Can you give us a sense of the progress being made on the ground?
Certainly. Taiwan has established its first closed-circuit autonomous vehicle demonstration zone, the Taiwan Autonomous Vehicle Lab.
The TV lab.
That's the one. Furthermore, the Ministry of Economic Affairs is actively promoting a test operation plan for service and commercial verification. We're seeing pilot projects already underway in places like Changhua and Taichung, developing smart bus fleets.
Smart buses, okay. It's one thing to discuss the technology in theory, but how is it being applied in the real world, beyond these controlled test environments? What compelling examples stand out?
Well, a prime local example that illustrates that real-world potential is the Shinny Road late-night autonomous bus in Taipei.
Ah, yes, I remember reading about that.
This pilot project aimed to utilize Taiwan's first late-night bus-only lane segment to address driver shortages and ensure continuous public transport after hours.
That sounds like a very practical application. What kind of technology did that bus leverage?
It used vehicle-to-everything, or V2X, sensing,
VQA.
to detect other vehicles and pedestrians, providing crucial warnings for potential red light violations or, say, unusual lane behavior. It also had high-precision maps and AI image analysis deployed to detect passenger falls.
Inside the bus.
Inside the bus, yeah, immediately alerting a control center. And it featured 25 5G base stations along the route to ensure that real-time response and stable connectivity.
Impressive setup.
It was. Though paused due to the pandemic, its potential for urban transport is pretty significant.
And looking internationally was another striking application of this technology.
In Japan, they've implemented their first highway autonomous vehicle lane using Level 4 technology.
Level 4 on a highway.
Yes, this system employs sensors and detailed 3D maps to continuously assess road conditions and potential obstacles. Its primary objective is actually to tackle the significant driver shortage in the logistics industry.
For trucking.
Exactly, a pressing issue exacerbated by Japan's aging population and declining birth rate. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, we see autonomous vehicles aren't just futuristic gadgets, they're being developed as direct solutions to critical societal and economic problems.
That's a great point. But as exciting as these advancements are, they come with substantial challenges. Our sources highlight that it's not just about overcoming technical hurdles, but navigating these complex layers of society, law, ethics. Where do these difficulties really begin?
Well, they often start with the technical limitations themselves. Autonomous vehicles rely so heavily on sensors, but in unpredictable, changing real-world environments, misjudgments can still happen.
Right.
A stark example cited is that 2023 Cruise AV incident in San Francisco, where the vehicle unfortunately failed to recognize a fallen pedestrian, leading to serious injury.
And the sheer volume of data processing required must be immense. What are the challenges there?
It's a huge bottleneck. Vehicles need to process just vast amounts of data in milliseconds to make accurate decisions. We've seen incidents like those Tesla Autopilot crashes in 2016 and 2019.
Yeah, those were significant.
Where the system failed to detect a semi-trailer, resulting in driver fatalities. This really highlights a persistent gap between highly controlled simulation environments and the chaotic complexity of real-world testing. Waymo's own Arizona tests, for instance, still revealed multiple perception system misjudgments.
So the real world is just harder.
Much harder. And beyond those technical issues like adverse weather or varying traffic rules, the social and legal ramifications are equally, if not more, daunting. How do these factors impact adoption? Well, one immediate question that arises is liability. How does liability shift?
Right. Who's responsible when something goes wrong?
Exactly. Traditional car insurance is built on human driver behavior. With AVs, insurers are compelled to consider entirely new policies, new risk assessments. This directly impacts how consumers perceive and accept the technology because the financial and legal responsibilities become, well, murky.
And this inevitably leads to the infamous trolley problem, but now it's playing out in a real car.
Hmm.
If an unavoidable accident occurs, who does the car choose to hit? A pedestrian, its own occupants. Our sources explore this, citing dilemmas like choosing between an elderly person and a young person, or even a human, versus a dog. These aren't just philosophical thought experiments anymore, are they?
No, they're not. They're ethical dilemmas that need to be concretely coded into algorithms, and the real-world implications can be profound. Consider a scenario, which our sources mention, where an elderly driver suffers a heart attack while in an autonomous vehicle,
Okay.
and the car continues driving, hitting a pedestrian. The question immediately becomes, who is liable? The deceased driver, the car manufacturer, the system itself? The legal framework for such scenarios is incredibly complicated and, frankly, largely undefined.
The discussion also highlights concerns about job displacement. How significant is the threat to driving professions, and what are the suggested mitigations?
Yeah, job displacement for roles like truck drivers, taxi drivers, delivery personnel is indeed a major concern. As autonomous fleets become more widespread, platforms like Uber could transition away from human drivers entirely.
Right.
Even traditional auto parts workers might face unemployment as the industry shifts towards electronics and software. The consensus among the experts we've looked at is a critical need for robust social security nets and retraining policies to mitigate these impacts.
And the legal frameworks around all this seem to be struggling to keep pace. What are the major legal ambiguities we're seeing?
It's a significant hurdle. How do you even define the legal status of an autonomous vehicle? If there's no steering wheel, do you still need a driver's license to be considered the operator?
Good question.
These ambiguities, exacerbated by differing international laws, severely restrict development and, crucially, cross-border operation.
We have several real-world liability case studies in the material. Can you share some examples that illustrate this complexity?
Certainly. Take the 2024 case where a cyclist allegedly intentionally collided with an AV, hoping for compensation.
Oh, wow. Insurance fraud potential.
Exactly. This introduces an entirely new layer of intent and responsibility. Then there's the 2023 incident where a cruise AV misjudged distance and dragged a pedestrian who had already been struck by a human driver.
That's complicated.
Very. Which ultimately led to the AV company losing its San Francisco taxi license. And of course, the widely known 2018 Uber accident where the AV struck and killed a jaywalking pedestrian because it failed to identify them in time.
These cases must make determining liability incredibly complex, with multiple parties potentially involved.
They absolutely do. Liability often becomes this sort of three-pronged challenge. There's the pedestrian, particularly if they violated traffic rules, though in places like Taiwan, vehicles often bear primary responsibility anyway. There's the AI developer or manufacturer, and surprisingly, even the vehicle owner or the driver, who under current Taiwan law is still required to be present and attentive.
Even in a supposedly autonomous car.
Even then, it's a legal minefield with few clear answers right now.
So it sounds like legislative processes are too slow. There's a lack of unified global standards leading to regulatory bodies that can't quite keep up. Are there also potential conflicts of interest at play?
Yes, that's mentioned too.
Yeah.
The slow legislative process, the lack of unified global technical standards, the absence of clear regulatory bodies, it all contributes.
Yeah.
And yes, there are inherent potential conflicts of interest between profit-driven car makers and governments tasked with public safety.
Makes sense.
While proposed solutions include faster legislation, clearer liability rules, achieving these is exceptionally difficult due to the inherent complexities and just widely differing national viewpoints.
Okay. Beyond legal and ethical, information security is flagged as another major concern. What are the specific threats AVs face in this area?
It's critical. Autonomous vehicles collect vast amounts of sensitive data, not just about the vehicle itself, but about other road users, their surroundings.
Yeah, everything it sees.
Exactly. This makes robust encryption absolutely vital. Imagine the consequences if a sensor were jammed or if environmental data were maliciously altered to mislead an AV.
That's terrifying.
It is. There's also the risk of remote vehicle control and malware injection, as demonstrated in a 2015 experimental car hack. Social engineering poses another threat, and vulnerabilities in internal communication systems or electronic control units could be exploited, potentially leading to disastrous outcomes.
And it's not just the initial security. Long-term maintenance is crucial, you mentioned. What happens if older models fall behind on updates?
That's a really valid concern. The material points out that older Tesla models, say by 2025, could face security flaws if they're unable to receive new software updates. It emphasizes that cybersecurity is an ongoing commitment, not a one-time fix.
Right, needs constant vigilance. Finally, what other overarching challenges do we need to consider?
Well, we also face challenges like insufficient existing infrastructure in many cities for the high-precision maps and V2X technology these cars rely on.
The roads themselves aren't ready.
In many places, no. There's the environmental impact of electronic waste from AV components and batteries, and a major one is navigating the complex transition period when autonomous vehicles and traditional human-driven cars must share the roads, each operating under different rules and assumptions. That's going to be tricky.
Very tricky. Okay, let's shift our focus slightly to a major player in this space, Tesla. Their full self-driving, or FSD, system and their ambitious robotaxi plans are constantly in the news. Can you give us an overview of their FSD system's evolution?
Sure, Tesla's FSD system, as described, sort of develops through distinct levels. It starts with basic autopilot, offering features like adaptive cruise control and auto steer, things many cars have now. Then comes enhanced autopilot, which adds capabilities like automatic lane changes and smart summon.
Or the car comes to you.
Exactly, allowing the car to move to the owner via a phone app. Finally, full self-driving, or FSD, aims for highly automated driving under specific conditions, closer to human capability, but still requiring supervision.
So how does Tesla's FSD specifically achieve this impressive level of autonomy? What are the core technical components they talk about?
Their approach is quite distinct. Tesla primarily employs what they call pure vision technology.
Just cameras, no LiDAR.
Primarily just cameras, yes, relying on them to create a 360-degree view designed to mimic human eyesight. They also utilize a dual network architecture, with one network specifically trained for vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists.
Okay, prioritizing them.
To ensure their prioritized protection, yes. The overload model application tracks leading vehicles to maintain safe following distances in congested traffic, and a persistent occupancy network predicts the next movements of pedestrians and vehicles to proactively reduce collision risks.
Sounds like an incredibly integrated and specialized system.
It truly is. They use end-to-end deep learning.
End to end. What does that mean exactly?
It means a single neural network handles everything from the raw image input directly to the driving decisions,
Wow.
eliminating separate, often more brittle, modular steps found in some other systems. And for continuous improvement, Tesla collects vast amounts of global driver data.
From all their cars on the road.
Exactly, using it to train its AI in diverse driving scenarios. They then push these advancements wirelessly via OTA, over-the-air technology, so your car can literally get smarter and safer over time without a trip to the service center.
This continuous improvement model really plays into their much-talked-about robotaxi enterprise applications.
Yeah.
What's the vision there?
Well, Tesla envisions owners adding their vehicles to a robotaxi network for income when they're idle.
Like an Airbnb for cars.
Kind of, yeah. Operating much like an Uber model, but autonomous. This has the potential to transform urban short-distance transport, maybe reducing traffic congestion and parking issues, while simultaneously improving efficiency and cutting emissions.
And other uses.
Yeah, it could also provide solutions for corporate employee transport or fill crucial public transit gaps like those late-night services we mentioned earlier.
And what about the business model behind this robotaxi vision? How do they plan to make it profitable?
It seems quite multifaceted. Owners could share revenue, with Tesla taking a commission.
Right?
Tesla might also directly operate its own standardized fleet to maximize efficiency and cut operational costs. And they're exploring various pricing strategies, from subscription models, maybe like Netflix,
I like it.
to dynamic pricing, similar to Uber's surge pricing, based on real-time demand.
This sounds like it could significantly disrupt existing transportation markets.
Oh, absolutely. It could radically reshape the traditional ride-sharing and taxi industries. Robotaxis would have significantly lower operating costs without driver wages.
That's the key.
That's the key. This pressure might compel companies like Uber to accelerate their adoption of similar AV technology just to remain competitive. It could also fundamentally change car ownership patterns. If robotaxis are cheap and readily available, many people might opt out of car ownership entirely, further fueling the sharing economy.
But with such ambitious plans, there must be significant challenges and risks that Tesla still faces with this robotaxi idea.
Definitely. The technology isn't fully mature yet. FSD isn't level 5. It still requires human supervision, which complicates a true robotaxi model.
Right.
Infrastructure is another concern. A 247 robo-taxi operation would need vastly more charging stations, although Tesla has plans for automated charging. And crucially, there's the user trust issue.
Yeah, getting people comfortable.
Exactly. Many consumers may still feel uneasy about fully autonomous vehicles, which will inevitably impact the speed of market adoption.
Speaking of other players, how does Waymo, another prominent autonomous vehicle company, compare to Tesla's approach based on our sources?
Well, a key distinction outlined is their operational strategy. Waymo currently operates at level 4.
True driverless in limited areas.
Exactly. No safety driver in the vehicle, but its operations are geographically limited to specific pre-mapped areas, like parts of San Francisco, and they generally haven't been deployed widely on highways yet.
Yep.
Tesla's FSD, while available across the U.S., is still technically a supervised system requiring human monitoring. Anecdotally, Waymo is often described as driving more gently, maybe more cautiously,
Right.
whereas Tesla's FSD can sometimes be perceived as more aggressive with lane changes and passing. In terms of widespread deployment, Tesla has a broader user base currently testing the supervised system, while Waymo is still in much earlier testing phases for larger-scale, truly driverless use.
Got it. Okay, moving beyond the vehicles themselves, autonomous technology will undoubtedly reshape entire industries and the job market as we know it. How do you see the traditional automotive manufacturing sector transforming?
It's undergoing a fundamental shift. Manufacturers are moving from simply producing cars to becoming providers of smart transportation solutions.
More like tech companies?
In a way, yes. This means a reduced emphasis on traditional mechanical engineering and a reorganization of the supply chain around new core components like advanced sensors, AI processors, high-performance computing chips. Companies like NVIDIA are playing an increasingly significant role.
So the whole ecosystem changes. And what does this mean for how people own and use cars in the future?
The sales model is undeniably shifting from individual ownership towards shared services. This could profoundly impact the demand for private vehicles. Autonomous services may even begin to replace traditional car rental and purchasing models for many people, making private car ownership less of a necessity.
So on the one hand, we might see job displacement, particularly for professional drivers, as we discussed. But surely, new jobs will emerge to fill this evolving ecosystem.
That's the critical balance, yes. While driving professions, truck, taxi, delivery drivers are certainly at risk of automation,
Yeah.
we anticipate a significant rise in new professions. This includes software and AI engineers, specialized fleet maintenance personnel for these complex vehicles.
Keeping the robots running.
Exactly. And remote monitoring specialists who can oversee multiple autonomous operations simultaneously. There will also be increased demand for roles in building and maintaining the necessary smart transportation infrastructure.
So a big shift in skills needed.
A huge shift. It necessitates a significant societal adjustment in workplace skills, prompting governments and companies to invest heavily in training programs to mitigate unemployment risks during this transition.
It's also fascinating to consider how autonomous vehicles connect to larger global goals, specifically the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. What are the key links there?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the connections are quite clear. For SDG 7, affordable and clean energy.
Okay.
Most autonomous vehicles are electric, making them inherently more environmentally friendly than traditional gasoline cars. And their operating cost is expected to decrease over time, making transport potentially more affordable, more accessible.
Right.
For SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, autonomous vehicles are designed, ideally, to be safer than human-driven ones. They eliminate unpredictable factors like drunk driving, speeding, distraction.
Human error?
Human error, basically, leading to potentially significantly safer urban road environments. And for SDG 13, climate action, electric autonomous vehicles produce significantly fewer greenhouse gas emissions, directly contributing to carbon reduction and global climate change mitigation efforts.
So potential benefits across multiple global goals. Now, you've probably gathered by now, listening, that the true engine behind autonomous vehicles isn't merely the physical car itself, but this invisible, intricate world of data and information systems. What's the fundamental difference between raw data and meaningful information in this context?
It's a really important distinction. In this context, data refers to the raw, unprocessed inputs from the vehicle's sensors, just numbers, text, images, sounds that describe isolated facts or events, like a single pixel value or a single radar ping.
Just the raw stuff.
Just the raw stuff. When this raw data is then recorded, classified, organized, explained, and associated with other data, that's when it transforms into information. It gains meaning from a specific perspective or purpose.
Then that transformation from raw data to meaningful information is where the real intelligence begins, isn't it?
Exactly. That transformation is achieved through data processing. This involves systematically handling all the collected data using both human programming and machine efforts. It includes classifying, merging, sorting, updating, summarizing, calculating, transmitting, editing data.
Making sense of the flood.
Precisely. It's how those millions of sensor inputs become coherent, actionable insights for the vehicle to use.
Our sources discuss how information systems are broadly categorized into those supporting management and those supporting operations. How does that breakdown apply here?
Okay, so on the operational side, we have systems like transaction processing systems, or TPS. A TPS collects the most basic data from daily operations. Think of every time you scan a product at a grocery store, it's recording the product, quantity, time.
The basic facts.
The basic facts. For an AV, this would be every single sensor reading, every detected object, every turn signal activated, recorded in real time. Pure operational data logging.
And on the management side of things?
That's where you get systems like Management Information Systems, MIS, which integrate that internal data for reporting and monitoring performance. Then Decision Support Systems, DSS, which help analyze data to aid in specific, often complex decisions. And Executive Information Systems, EIS, for high-level strategic insights.
Sure.
So for AVs, the data journey starts with that raw sensor collection, moves through storage, management, intense analysis, machine learning, ultimately creating useful knowledge that directly supports the effective decision-making and operational control of the vehicle itself.
This journey begins with data collection. And in our increasingly digital world, the methods for gathering this digital gold are incredibly diverse. How are these diverse methods shaping the landscape for autonomous vehicles?
They're creating this massive dynamic sort of digital twin of our world that autonomous vehicles rely on for pretty much every decision. Consider these key avenues our sources mention.
Yeah.
Search engines like Google Trends. It collects every keyword we search for, revealing global demands, interests. This aggregated data on human behavior, even outside driving, can inform predictive models for AVs, like where traffic might be heavier.
Interesting.
Databases, obviously. Existing structured data provides foundational maps, regulations, things AVs constantly access.
Sure.
Social media, monitoring platforms like Instagram, TikTok, often through open APIs, provides insights into user behavior, events happening. Again, not direct driving data, but patterns here can inform broader traffic models or even public sentiment towards AVs.
Right.
Web crawling. We can extract specific content from websites, analyze pages, clean data. We saw demonstrations of this, like extracting YouTube titles to identify popular AI topics, which helps understand research trends relevant to AV development.
Okay.
Smart devices and IoT, the Internet of Things, is highly relevant. Think smart cities collecting data on traffic flow, air quality, energy use. All this real-time data can potentially be fed to AVs for smarter route planning and environmental awareness.
Yeah, vehicle-to-infrastructure communication.
Exactly. Online advertising data, believe it or not. Large data sets of user behavior used for targeted ads can also reveal patterns of movement and consumer preferences that influence urban planning and traffic management, indirectly benefiting AV deployment strategies.
Huh.
Medical and health data analysis, like Google's G-code image recognition model analyzing X-rays. While not for AV control, it showcases the power of AI in image recognition, a core component AVs use constantly for perception.
The underlying tech.
The underlying tech. Financial industry analysis demonstrating how data-driven insights power critical decisions. And then, directly relevant, smart transportation itself, collecting data on fleet equipment performance, real-time road conditions, traffic info, crucial for optimal route planning and vehicle maintenance for autonomous fleets.
Makes sense.
And even retail. Analyzing customer purchasing behaviors helps build predictive models, techniques which could be adapted for AV planning, like predicting demand for robotaxis in certain areas.
So data from everywhere feeds into this. We've covered the incredible scope of data being collected and analyzed, particularly for autonomous vehicles. But how can you, our listener, get hands-on with some of these concepts?
Yeah, you can absolutely empower your own data collection and analysis using readily available AI tools. Our sources outlined a clear path, starting with Python and the Spider IDE.
Python.
Python 3.10.5 is recommended for its broad compatibility, and Spider offers a remarkably user-friendly environment to execute code line by line and observe variables in action. Makes learning easier.
We've actually walked through examples in the source material showing how to build a basic web crawler to extract information from websites and a word cloud generator to visually represent keyword frequency from text.
Right, and these aren't just theoretical exercises. They demonstrate how you can leverage AI tools to write simple Python programs that, for instance, search online for, say, 2025 tech industry news, and then create a word cloud where the size of the words indicates their frequency and maybe colors represent emphasis. It's a powerful, practical way to transform raw text data into meaningful visual insights yourself.
A tangible way to engage with data. Okay, so today we took a fascinating deep dive into autonomous vehicles. We moved from their ambitious, surprisingly long history and their complex internal brains to the really significant societal and ethical challenges they present. We then zoomed out to truly grasp the fundamental role of data and AI in making this future possible, from how information is processed to the incredibly diverse ways it's collected.
And that journey of data, transforming from raw inputs into actionable knowledge, it truly underpins so many technological advancements today. Understanding how these information systems work, from operational support right up to strategic decision-making, equips you to see the bigger picture of our increasingly connected and automated world.
This technology promises incredible advancements, doesn't it? From solving driver shortages, improving urban safety, pushing us towards potentially a greener future.
Huge potential, yes. But it's also a future fraught with profound ethical dilemmas, complex liability questions that we've barely scratched the surface of, and critical cybersecurity concerns that demand continuous vigilance and really thoughtful policy development.
Absolutely. So here's a final provocative thought for you, our listener, to consider. As autonomous vehicles become more integrated into our lives, making split-second decisions based on their algorithms, what specific ethical rules do you believe should be hard-coded into their decision-making processes? And, maybe even harder, who should ultimately be responsible for defining those rules?
It's a question that seamlessly blends technology, ethics, and fundamental human values. And it's one we'll all need to grapple with, I think, as this deep dive continues to unfold in the real world around us.
Indeed. Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and stay well informed.